who would like to show their contribution from the last week?
Yeah, I can start with my one.
Okay, go ahead.
Now you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, since last week I have been working on this ticket, Save Media Asset Relations when content is saved. So the main idea of this request is to provide logic and implementation which will save relation between media content and media asset. I implemented some logic for those 4 events and created a pull request. This pull request currently is under review, and one web API test failed, one of several, yes, and I found an interesting case for it right now. So just when this web API test runs, it tries to save the category with such kind of media file class, and this is a result of the failure of tests and the logic. So yeah, this is what I will continue. So, but pretty much done, and I hope that this implementation soon will be delivered to the development branch. Yeah, and after that I will start the reindex part, where we also need to provide logic for safe relation on a media gallery reindex. Also, I made one pull request with just some small adjustments and code cleanup. This already merged, and yeah, it provides several improvements and just remove unused imports. Maybe that's all. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Thanks. As for the failed web API tests and incorrect, so not real path to the image, right? Are we checking? Yeah. Are we actually checking the if the file exists before relation saving?
No. No, because if there is no file physically exists, it means that something happened with this file. Because just
yeah, I see.
Yeah. Should we check it or just leave like it is?
I think that the idea here is to examine the content, and if there are some path of image path that is used in the content, right? We are checking if this path is present in the database as a media asset, right? And then if we can find some media assets, we are establishing the link between media assets and the content that is saved. So there should be no interaction with file system here. And if the path to the image is fake, that is saved in the content, then we simply will not find it in the database, in the media assets table.
Yeah.
So should not lead to exception.
Yeah. So what does it mean? It means that we need to add this validation. So take the media path from the content, then try to find this file in the file system by this path, and if everything is fine and this file is present, we create relation. If not,
no, we shouldn't do any validation, I think.
Okay, yeah, because just I think that safe relation between media asset and content is just the second, not the second set, but shouldn't have any validation, because if there is no file physically on storage, right, and this path exists in the content, it means that this is an error in another level. So yeah, I agree that we do not need any kind of validation.
Yeah, and thanks for fixing, for refactoring and fixing the static tests. For some reason, we had some errors recently. There is still a static test error because of copy-paste. Like copy-paste test started to fail for some reason, comparing page builder file with some core file. It's not related to our tests. We are investigating why this is happening. So don't pay attention to that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Anybody else would like to show their contributions? Sergei, maybe you'd like to show the image details introduced by you recently? Or maybe Gabriel? Gabriel have introduced the add selected action to the media gallery, and also
yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and also worked on the SDK in the on the Adobe Stock SDK in the Adobe organization. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm not really 100% prepared, but I'm gonna try to share my screen here. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes,
yeah,
we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, one of the tasks that I worked in the past few weeks was the add selected button here. So basically, it's quite simple. It's just a button that gets the image path and sent to the other component here, and in the view there. So I used the same structure that another guy did, this action structure. So it basically looks at the selected image and sends to the target element. So basically, when you open the gallery, there's a target element there. So it just sends the image thumbnail and the content type to that target element, close the dialog, and change the focus. It's quite simple. But there's still work to be done there, because there's this button, this component here is one target element, but when you use WYSIWYG, like from this example, the target is a little bit different, so the response here should be a little bit different. So we would have to work a little bit on that as well. And the other thing that I worked at was the Adobe library, Adobe Stock library, I think. It was a pull request that I created there to allow the getFiles method to be available for the Adobe Stock module. So yeah, there we go. But the files API was requested by Sergei. We actually were using a directly call to the API, not using the library, because that method wasn't available in the library. So I can't really show the feature, like I don't have it running in my machine at the moment. But I basically, following the library structure, implemented the files API method. Yeah, and I think Sergei made a change already in the library, in the module to use this in the library, so it got merged recently. And yeah, at the moment working on the file uploader, so allow people to upload their documents from the new media gallery. Sorry, and I think that's it.
Okay, thanks, Gabriel. After the pull request was merged to Adobe Stock SDK, the new version was released. So now the latest version of Adobe Stock SDK is 1.1.3. And to see the changes, you can update the SDK in your environment. There is a pull request in the pull request that I have created for Adobe Stock Integration just to test the new files API. It was really quickly created, so it still needs to be adjusted, and unit tests have to be changed to reflect the changes. But we can see that we are able to work with the new version of SDK without direct calls to Adobe Stock API.
That's great.
Thanks. Okay, so Sergei said that he had some network problems. So I will show his contributions instead of him. Let me share my screen. So, yeah. So one of the big changes on the UI that were introduced last week was the view details slide panel. Let me log in. The slide panel that is accessible from the context menu of each image in the media gallery and shows the basic asset information. Also, a plugin was added to Adobe Stock Integration that adds the Adobe Stock related information to that details panel if the asset is actually downloaded from Adobe. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It looks like I dropped.
Yeah, you rejoined.
Have I dropped?
Yeah.
Yeah, some network connection. Yeah, looks like these days people are using network much more than before. So I feel like network latency problems are more common these days. Yeah, so back to the demonstration. I just logged back into the admin panel. And come on. Yeah, it's just loading slowly. Sorry. So from the context menu of any image in the media gallery, you can now open the view details panel. If there is an image that was downloaded from Adobe Stock Integration that I have on my second instance here, you can see also Adobe Stock information that is added from Adobe Stock Image Admin UI module. Yeah, for example, this one is unlicensed image from Adobe Stock, as we can see. And here are the details. So the tags are here, Adobe Stock ID and status as well. And the source icon. Also, we had some improvements made by Nazar for working with folders. Like previously, we were not able to unselect folder. Right now, we can do it by clicking on the selected folder or removing the filter. We can also create a folder. Creating a folder when no folder is selected is going to create a folder in the storage root. And if the folder is selected and we are trying to create another directory, it will be created inside the selected directory. And Yeah, when no directories are selected, we cannot use delete folder button, but it's still there, just dimmed. And if the folder is selected, we can delete it. I think that's mostly it. Let me check the latest pull requests. We had quite a lot since last week. Yeah, we also have the fix. So if I will insert the image to the image uploader. It still doesn't support the image size insertion because we don't have the information about size right now in the media gallery, and that was there is an open pull request for this one. That's actually the pull request for Adobe Stock Integration and the pull request for Magento 2. That is adding the size field to the media gallery asset. The pull request to Magento 2 repository is right now under testing, and the dependent pull request on Adobe Stock Integration is pending until the pull request will be merged to Magento 2. Yeah, actually, I wanted to see the closed. Yeah, we also worked on MFTF tests. Added the delete button. So right now, if the image is, if there is a selected image, there is a delete button. So now we can delete this image using the context menu item or the button on the top. And yeah, that's generally it. Do you guys have any questions or anything to discuss?
Yeah. Just one question appeared in my mind. So is it possible to create, or maybe we already have it, just, when you create a filter at Magento UI component, you will be able just to filter some data by it, and then you will see it saved at the top of the grid. Just for example, you type anything else something in the search field, right? You press enter, and then you will see what you typed at the top of a table, right? And then, for example, you reopen the page, and again, you will see the last used filter. So is it possible to implement this for the folders?
I don't think I get it. Do you want to?
For example, you selected.
Can you show your screen for?
No. I will explain in other words. Sorry for this complicated explanation. Because I try to explain with the development some terms, but for example, I selected one folder in a folders drop-down. Then I just close this page, go something else, open the media gallery, and I want to see this folder open.
So you want to have the preserved state for the folder? Yeah, it's possible. I'm not sure if it works right now, to be honest, but yeah, it's possible to implement.
The simplest explanation, just to keep the folder open.
Yeah, even I know that there is a functionality in the old media gallery that actually we want to open specific folder depending on from which place you are accessing the media gallery. Like from WYSIWYG, for example, you are going to get to choose the WYSIWYG directory. So WYSIWYG directory will be selected in the media gallery. And if you open the media gallery from category, then catalog category folder is selected. That's like, I'm not sure, but there is such functionality right now. Like WYSIWYG for sure, catalog category, yeah, I think that catalog category is selected when you go from category. Image uploader. And yes, so there can be a conflict between this functionality, like default directory that should be opened when you access the media gallery from specific places, and preserving the state. But yeah, we can discuss this and try to implement both in some.
Yeah, it's like an idea.
Compromise way. Yes, thanks for bringing it up. Probably we should check it and see how it works right now, and create an issue to introduce that functionality if it's missing right now. Cheers. Anything else?
No, I think it's all good, yeah.
Then, good. Thanks, guys, for joining. Thanks for your contributions. See you.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
Cheers. Thanks, Sergei. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.